I'm Hillary Hendershot, your host, and this is Profit Boss Radio, The Retirement Years, episode 154. The Retirement Years on Profit Boss Radio is your weekly wealth building and retirement mastermind. Profit Boss is also a movement for women who want to reach their full wealth potential and be financially free. Let me be your guide as you defy the odds, take control of your money, grow your wealth, and retire well. Do you want the secrets of wealth and retirement to be yours? This is the place. I'm Hillary Hendershot. I'm a certified financial planner running a leading advisory firm for women and couples, and I'm sharing with you real stories from real life and real people who are making it happen. Forget Wall Street. You ready? Let's do this. Hey, Profit Boss, if you're running a business, today's episode is for you. I've participated in enough masterminds with enough business owners to know that most entrepreneurs do not love or understand their numbers. I'll be totally honest with you. I recently joined the Entrepreneurs Organization, and that team, that training there even had me learning about how to aggregate and report and look at my numbers. And, as I share in this interview with the amazing Danielle Hayden, I absolutely feel like I have a secret decoder ring that I now have figured out how to let the numbers drive me. In other words, last month and last quarter's numbers inform how I behave in the future. They inform what I put on my calendar. I look at those numbers and I know that I've either done it right or not so right, and then I can do it differently in the future. And I want that for you. Two things to say in this introduction. I will give you my guest's bio in the actual interview, so just hang on a second. But basically what you want to know is that this lady is the maven of numbers, okay? She runs an accounting firm, so she can help you. If you'd like to get Danielle and her team on your team, you can reach out. If you want to find out how to contact her, go to hillaryhendershot.com/154. But again, two things. First, I do have to apologize. This interview was the first time I recorded using a new tool, and I didn't get my computer configured to record the audio from my professional microphone. So my audio does not sound great. However, in my opinion, the first time you record an interview is the best energy you're going to get with a guest. I really loved my conversation with Danielle. And in this case, it's her responses to my questions that are the most important. So I decided to do my best with my track of the audio and just give it to you as it was recorded. So my humble apologies. I promise not to get that wrong again. And the second thing is that I'm giving away copies of Danielle's book. So she has two books. One is called Foundations. It's an entry-level book for business owners who need to build the foundations of their accounting and their understanding of their numbers. And the second is called Financials. It's for people who have an accounting system and are really ready to do the analysis and understand their numbers and their KPIs. Both incredible books. If you would like to, I'm giving them away until they're gone, so I don't have an unlimited supply. But if you want to grab your copy, go to hillaryhendershot.com/154 and click on the link for the free book. Listen to today's episode. I hope you get a ton out of it because, as you know, all I want is for you to make more money and more profit. Have a great day, Profit Boss. Enjoy my interview with Danielle Hayden. Hello, Profit Boss. Welcome to this special episode for business owners. I have with me Danielle Hayden. She's a reformed corporate CFO who's on a mission to help rule-breaking female entrepreneurs understand their numbers so you can gain the confidence needed to create sustainable profits. And after spending 10 years in the boardroom, 10 plus years as a corporate finance officer, Danielle is now in her sweet spot as the co-owner of Kickstart Accounting Incorporated, where she helps business owners with bookkeeping, financial analysis, and education, as the author of the Profit Planner book series. When Danielle isn't knee-deep in numbers, you can find her hanging with her two kids or competing in the nearest Spartan race. We'll have to ask her about the Spartan race. Actually, Danielle, what is a Spartan race?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. This is next to numbers, my favorite next topic. The Spartan race is a obstacle mud run where you can do as short of 3 miles and as long as 30 plus miles through obstacles and mud.
Oh, super my goodness. Fun. Yes. How many miles do you do?
My favorite is the Beast, and it's 13 miles and about 25 obstacles.
How do you train for this?
Lots of running. I'm a big fan of, I have a Peloton bike and lots of lifting weights. And, we have a pull-up bar in our workout room here, and we all have pull-up competitions.
They're in the office?
Yeah, right here in my office.
Oh, that's quite a company culture you have. And so here's the real question. After the race, how long does it take you to get the mud off of you?
We've gotten pretty good at actually preparing. So a lot of times we'll travel for these races, and we've gotten a lot better at learning what to bring with us. And so usually by 2 hair washes, I'm pretty good. Those first few races, we were amateurs, and it took a while to get back out.
Okay, more power to you. I'm impressed. And now I want to take a second for you, Profit Boss, and I just want to read to you a little bit of language from Danielle's website because, her bio is good. You're in financial services. You have to give people your credibility, and that's all fine and well. But listen to this. Imagine for a second a world with no more accounting overwhelm, no more hiding in the dark from your financials, no more running from your family and mentors when they ask you questions about your numbers. Add to that your financial advisor. Finally getting to take home the paycheck you deserve. I read this and I thought, Danielle and I are cut from the same cloth because I find myself, I sometimes say I'm the Joan of Arc for women actually paying themselves from their business. And I have a feeling that Danielle maybe has some of the same sentiments. Danielle, I find that women, the biggest thing I have to argue for is pay yourself from your business, like pay and save.
Yes. Amen. Amen. Pay yourself and save. Yes.
So let's talk about, in investing, we can divide all investment methodologies into either active or passive investments. Now, in accounting, you only have one. Well, there's different types of accounting, but how we talked before I hit record, we talked about dividing, categorizing the different business types so that people can learn to think from the right framework or system for their business. I remember when I started in business and there were business coaches who kept foisting on me these questions like, what are your financial KPIs? There were questions that I ultimately realized and learned didn't even apply to my business. And so I want to help people get out of that confusion and overwhelm. And so we talked about 3 different product categories. Do you mind saying what those product categories are?
Yes. So we have 3 categories, product businesses, and then businesses who have a brick and mortar. So you have a storefront, and you may be providing services within that storefront or products within that storefront. And then the third would be online service-based businesses.
Okay, great. I'm just taking notes here. So if you can hear me typing a lot of that, I want to remember to go back and ask you about these things. Let's start with product. For whatever reason, I see a lot of women starting product businesses now, and that product businesses they're special. They have the potential to make people really rich, but they're also really hard. So what do you want a product business owner to be looking out for from a financial perspective? How do you want her to design her business? And what are the key elements that are specific to her business?
So somebody who is selling a product needs to really be looking at their inventory and spending a lot of time on their inventory management and their profitability by product.
Okay.
I'm going to hone in on the profitability by product because we have a lot of clients who sell several different products, and they might have one product who they actually only make a little bit on it. Maybe they only make about 10-15% margin on that product, but they are able to attract a lot of people in their door or onto their website by offering that lower margin product. But then they have a higher margin product, and they know that once people start with that lower margin product, they're going to come back for more, and they're going to eventually purchase that higher margin product. But it's really important to know and understand all of your products, right? So if somebody doesn't know how much they're making by product and how much they're selling by product, it would be really difficult for them to understand that story and how to make business decisions based on that information. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Let's back up just a little bit in the timeline. For example, there's a woman in my coaching program this year who is launching a product business. So she concepted this product. It's currently in design. And so what would you want her to be thinking about in terms of, I know distribution is really key. How should she price the product relative to cost? What would be your advice there?
I would advise her first and foremost to start looking at where she will be purchasing her product and then how that will be shipping to her customers. So does she need to buy the inventory and house her inventory and then ship her own inventory? Mm-hmm. Does it make sense for her to be able to have somebody who manufactures her product for her and then ship it on her behalf, or find somebody who can provide her with a drop shipping option?
So it's obviously best if you don't have to store and ship your own inventory. I would imagine that the top of the line or the platinum level would be they don't make it until the customer pays for it, right?
Absolutely. But keep in mind, you're probably going to pay more for that. So you also want to think about how much money. So if you're going to charge, $20 per product, mm-hmm. and it is going to cost her $15 per product in order for her to have it drop shipped, versus maybe it only $10 per product in cost in order for her to actually hold the inventory, mm-hmm. and then be able to ship it on her own behalf. So that's $5 per product that she's saving, and that these are very round numbers, right? And that's very just throwing numbers at the wall. Mm-hmm. The savings could be even greater when you are actually purchasing your own inventory. But again, you have to know, depending on what the product is, how many do you need to purchase, of what colors need to be purchased, or if you're going to have more than one product, how many of each need to be purchased. So, but if you're starting with one product and mm-hmm. one color, it may make sense if you have the funding available to be able to purchase that inventory and ship that on your own as a starting point until you ramp up the volume to be able to afford a lower margin in drop shipping.
So take that savings and sort of reinvest it in marketing and product manufacturing until you deepen the breadth of the product line.
Absolutely. Yes.
What are some of the businesses you work with that are product businesses that you think of as the most sweet? Like they've got it, they've got distribution going, they've got the product is right, they know their market. How are they distributing? Is it Amazon? Is it their own website? And, I'm not asking you to name names, but just an example so people have something to think from.
Yeah. So we have an online store who actually sells, her biggest passion is golfing. And this client loves to golf. Mm-hmm. And so she started an online store using Shopify, and she is drop shipping all of her golf accessories to her clients. So she uses Shopify, and it's an online store. And she is now using drop shipping. She is one of my clients who originally, when she first started, she actually was purchasing her inventory, storing it in her basement, and her two teammates were shipping it out. And as she was able to reinvest in the business, she was finally able to find a manufacturer and afford the lower profitability in order to be able to drop ship that inventory.
So she did a couple of years of daily trips to the UPS store?
Yes. And you know what? We have so much technology right now. You can use stamps.com. And so you really don't need to leave your home. You can buy the necessary equipment and printer and shipping materials to be able to do it right from your house.
Oh, so she didn't have to put them in her Toyota Tercel and drive them down.
No, she didn't.
Okay, good. So she probably has a diversification of products, right? Multiple product line. She's probably got a personality brand. I'm just guessing. I'm trying to give people a framework to think from of what's most magnetic right now.
Yeah. To me, it's get started, right? So I think that's number one. So she did start with a few products and then built from there. And so as she learned what her clients loved and what was selling really well, she was able to bring on more products that were similar to that and refine her product and inventory line as she learned more and more about her ideal client.
Okay. And have you ever given someone the advice to shut down a product business?
Absolutely. Not just the product business, but maybe a product line within their product business, or consider different avenues on how they're delivering their product.
And what kind of performance, obviously it would be negative performance, but how consistent or how long would it have to be underperforming for you to make that recommendation?
It depends on everyone's personal situation. I hate that. I hate saying that. But if you are somebody who has gone over a year without taking a paycheck from your business, if you're losing money, if you're having to invest in money month over month, those are definitely red flags to be able to make that determination. Really, the goal of my accounting firm, when we deliver our financials to clients, we do that on a monthly basis and give them their key metrics so that they can make these business decisions before they ever get to the point where they need to close their operations, right? So they're getting a monthly report saying, hey, you're spending too much money here. You're taking a loss. What are our goals for this year, and what do we need to look at to change in order for them to succeed and not have to get to the point where they're closing down?
Right. I have in the past met some people who get, in my opinion, emotionally attached to the business. They have a soft spot in their heart for the product. Yes. They're like evangelists for the product, but nobody's buying it, or they just can't get distribution. Right? There are lots of products that go to pasture and die, unfortunately, because you can't get them to people for whatever reason. And so or
you can't find your market, or you don't have the right marketing in order to be able to find your ideal client and be able to serve them. And you're right, the emotional piece, we see it with clients time and time again. They've invested so much that they're afraid to cut the tie because they've already invested so much.
Yeah. Do you present to them the literature about the sunk cost fallacy?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. You have to walk away. Okay, let's talk about anything else about product businesses that you want to mention before I move on to brick and mortar?
No, just concentrate on profitability by product.
Okay, very good.
Ending statement.
Hashtag profitability by product.
Yes.
Okay. Brick and mortar businesses with a storefront, either services or products. So it's interesting that you lump services and products in there. I guess a brick and mortar with a service could I be a brick and mortar if I had a store in a strip mall?
Yes, you could. Yeah. If you had a consulting business where people could come into your office, a few different people you can think of, your local CPA who might have an office down the street who still wants you to come in to file their return. A hair salon would be another example of this. They're providing a service. Even some gyms, you're offering, maybe personal training or group fitness classes, yoga studios, Pilates, where you don't need you're not selling a product, you're selling a class or a service.
And so every type of the business you've mentioned so far, CPA, hair salon, and a gym, have some kind of recurring revenue or subscription revenue. Is that correct?
Actually, most likely not. So a CPA, you're actually going to pay by tax return. So clients
clients are sticky. So you don't consider that recurring revenue, huh?
Not at a CPA firm. And I'm going to say that because we've worked with a lot of tax accountants. Yes, once you've worked with it might be difficult for you to change, but we see it all the time. A hair salon, yes. Once you find a hairstylist that you love, you're gonna stay with that hairstylist and get your hair cut, every 3-6 months,
right?
Or for men, every 4 weeks. If you are a yoga studio, you might sell a class pass per month, and therefore that would be recurring revenue. Or you find people who love you. All right, I love my yoga studio, and I don't go anywhere else, and so they get. Although I don't have a monthly payment to them, I come to the gym on a regular basis.
Okay. And then also in this category would be a retail store or boutique?
Yeah, absolutely. A retail store or boutique. That you would fall product and brick and mortar.
Okay. And so is it the cost of the brick and mortar the rent that has you categorize them similarly?
Yes, absolutely. That is so important. You have to think about, if your starting rent is $2,500 per month, your first $2,500 in profit every month needs to go to just covering your space before utilities, consultants, or anything else. So it's really important when we're looking at how much revenue we need to bring in to break even to be able to cover that amount.
Okay, that break-even term is really important in what you do. So do you want to say more about why you mentioned that number?
Yeah, break-even is the first step to profitability, right? Obviously, I always preach profitability, but breaking even is your first step. So when we help a client determine what is their break-even revenue, we will take all of their monthly reoccurring operating costs. That means the rent that you pay, the utilities, your internet, any of the software or subscriptions that you must pay in order to continue to serve your clients. You need to add all of those up, and that is the minimum amount that you need to bring into your business in order to become, to be able to break even and then become profitable. I always tell clients, once you have that expense number, that break even number, you can then divide that by how many services or how many classes or how many haircuts you need to provide in order to be able to break even.
Perfect. Anything else for brick and mortar business owners to be keeping in mind?
So when we look at brick and mortar businesses, they have very different key performance indicators than somebody with a service-based business. And so in that category, you may want to think about your square footage. And if you're thinking about expanding your brick and mortar space, there's some very key pieces of information that you can work with your bookkeeper in order to understand your revenue and understand your business further. And so that's why that one is put together in its own separate category, because there's some very specialized metrics for you.
Okay. So beyond just the profitability by product, you need to be thinking about how much money am I making per square foot that I'm paying to rent? Am I guessing correctly?
Yes. Yeah. That's perfect.
Okay. And you obviously and your consultative team are helping people customize these numbers.
Yes, absolutely.
Welcome to this week's MoneyWise segment designed to keep you in the know and, most importantly, smarter than your neighbor. Today, we're talking about what is a tax advisor and how do you choose one. I included today's segment in this week's episode because, in my opinion, tax advisors are absolutely critical for business owners. Yes, if you are a person who's a wage earner and you maybe own your home, and so the two biggest contributing factors to your tax return are your earned income, which comes on a W-2, and your mortgage interest statement, your deductible mortgage interest statement, then fine. Maybe it's H&R Block for you. Maybe it's TurboTax. But if you own a business, you must have a good tax person who you consider your partner. There are two kinds of tax advisors, two classifications of designations. First is enrolled agents. Enrolled agents are completely qualified to compile your tax return, to prepare your tax return. Certified public accountants have a CPA versus the enrolled agent, which have an EA after their name. Most people call their tax preparer their CPA or their bookkeeper. However, your tax preparer prepares your taxes. That's your tax preparer. Might not be a CPA. That person might be an EA. For many years, I used an EA to prepare my tax returns. CPAs conduct audits on publicly traded companies, and sometimes they prepare tax returns. So just because they have a CPA after their name doesn't mean that they prepare taxes. However, both of those folks are probably qualified. No, they are qualified to prepare your tax return. So How should you find a tax advisor? First, you need to understand tax prep is backward looking, tax strategy is forward looking. Many people I meet are very disappointed when they go see their tax person, and all that person does is look at what you already did, what expenses you already incurred, how you already ran your business, and they prepare a tax return that says what you already owe the federal government and the state government. You need to understand that tax strategy is a different skill set. Not all tax preparers offer it. Sometimes they charge separately for it, which is fine in my opinion. My current tax person does tax strategy and tax prep at the same time for a premium price. It's not cheap, okay? In my opinion, most tax preparers now who are doing tax returns for business owners, I might get in trouble for this, but I would say $1,000 minimum. And I know that sounds like a lot, and I have no dog in this race because I don't prepare tax returns and I don't have any close friends who do necessarily. So I'm not saying this for any self-interested reason, but a good tax preparer will absolutely save you more in taxes than you pay to have that return prepared. Besides, as a business owner, you need to understand the things you can and cannot do and should not be doing based on the legal entity type that you are running, whether that be an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp, and the like. Reach out to other business owners in your area to find a tax planner who they recommend. I highly recommend working with someone who does work digitally so you can trade documents online. Make sure that person gives you a copy of your tax return in PDF form so that you can hand it out to your other financial advisors, the people on your wealth building team. And just make sure you and your tax advisor are on the same page about how you feel about taxes. How conservative or aggressive do you want to be about reducing your tax obligation? And you should make sure that you two see eye to eye about that. I promise you'll love being a business owner at least 10% more when you have a great tax preparer on your team.
And then the final category is online and service-based businesses. And I kind of kicked off your and my pre-chat today with by mentioning that this is the kind of business I have. And I felt in the beginning that there were coaches who were trying to foist on me KPIs, key performance indicators, that didn't really end up applying to my business at all. And I will say that over the time, I have been working with a coach who I think does understand the numbers. And I've put together this standard operating procedure where every month my team has specific tasks that they do, and they give me slides that show me my net income for the quarter. I get paid quarterly. So a net income for the quarter and costs and recurring costs. And we break out what I call cost of service, which is really just the cost of paying people, including myself, versus paying for things like rent or, computer equipment. And it's really insightful. And what I have found is that it informs my activities. So this view of my numbers that I didn't have until maybe a year and a half ago really gives me insight that then changes how I behave in my business the following month. And it's massively helpful. And so I just want to promote what you do by saying, I don't know how I could run my business without it now.
Right. Well, and that's what most of our clients say, right? There's so many of them that come to us who are scared to even face their numbers. They're so fearful around getting this information. And then once they start getting the information, they always say to us, wow, I can't believe I ever went without it. And I feel so empowered. And I'm so glad to hear that you're making business decisions with it, right? You can decide, are you pricing your services right? Is your team spending the proper amount of time on each client? You might find your team isn't spending enough time with clients, or they're spending too much time with one or two clients. And you can understand what is working and what's not working, or maybe where you're spending too much money or where you need to decrease your spending so that the next month you are acting with intention in your business.
Right. And well, just to share anecdotally so people really get the value of this is, yes, key performance indicators are things like profitability and net income. But what we've determined and what we now sort of colloquially call a key performance indicator in my business is the number of upcoming meetings with prospective clients, because that's the top of our funnel. That's how we know what's coming in. That's how we know our activity level. And no, it's not an accounting thing. I mean, we just count I don't need a bookkeeper to count the number of meetings I have in the next 4 weeks, right? But it gives me a sense of where do I need to pay attention? Am I doing enough marketing? Have I done enough calls to action? Have I made those return phone calls? It really informs my activities that then increase profitability. And that can be done for any business, is my communication.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that. I do still consider that an accounting key performance indicator. So we talk about this in the Profit Planner book series, and marketing key performance indicators are key performance indicators that can tell you about your upcoming revenue.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said that, because it could be, how many discovery calls do you have coming up? What is your close ratio? So how many calls do you need to have?
I track that too, yes.
Yeah, in order to close one client. So those are all great revenue indicators.
Okay, I sort of took over this particular subcategory. What else do you want to say to online and service-based business owners?
So, we talked about this a little bit in the products, know your profitability by product, but let's hone back in on this and say, let's understand your profitability by service line and your profitability by client. So, analyzing how much time your team as well as yourself, you should be time tracking too. And so know how much time each of you are spending on clients and by service, so that you know what to do more of and what to do less of.
Tell me about your best practices on time tracking. This is something I've tried to do several times, and it makes me want to just put a hot dagger in my eye.
So I do time tracking for myself on a loose basis, but my team all time track. So, I have a team of 6 bookkeepers who work with me at Kickstart, and they are all tracking their time by client. And that's really important for us as a firm. Although we do not bill our clients based on the amount of hours that we spend working with them, all of our clients are on a flat monthly rate. It's still important for me to be able to understand, are we spending enough time with our clients or not? For me, we use an app on our phones that makes it pretty easy. I know that if I forget to turn it off, I can easily adjust it. So it's also not taking it too serious. It's not the Bible, but it gives me a gauge as to where I'm spending my time.
Do you want to plug that app?
Toggle,
perfect.
Yeah, Toggle. Okay. And they have a free version, so it's great.
Great. And do you track your time? I mean, for example, as a business owner, do you track your time 24 hours a day sometimes? Do you write down how much do I sleep? How much do I work out? Things like that?
I am an accountant through and through. And so I'm pretty dorky from sunrise to sunset. So yes, I do.
I have tried to do that. I wish there was some way I could pay someone else to do it, because I can't seem to keep it in my mind to do it. How do you remind yourself? Do you have reminders every 30 minutes or something?
Well, actually I use my planner. So that's when I wrote when I wrote the Profit Planner, I wrote it because it was something that I was using, but in a notebook. And so that's how I keep track of, at the beginning of the week, on Sunday or Monday, I'll go through, look at what I'm going to do every day. So, what time am I going to work out? What time do I have to pick up my kids? What time do I have meetings or recording podcasts? And I'm able to block out each of my days within that planner. And so that really helps me to be able to keep that schedule.
You block your time in your planner in addition to keeping like a Google Calendar?
I do.
What does that do for you?
It's taking pen to paper. So I do use erasable pens. I will give a plug to erasable pens.
I've just seen an erasable pen since high school.
It's fantastic. You know what? Somebody I worked with about a year ago, she gifted them to me, and we still joke that she's changed my life with these pens. So
hilarious.
I block my time. It is in my Google Calendar, but just taking that step back on Monday and writing everything out, I'm just able to see, where I might have some overlap, where I might be able to say, I know that doing that type of activity takes a lot of my energy. And so I might not feel like taking a client call after I do that type of activity. I might feel a little drained, and that for my client might not get the best coaching from me. So for me, it allows me just to kind of take a step back and look at, does this look realistic?
It's really impressive. Organization is just such a great thing as a business owner. I just really don't think you can be too organized. I thought I was organized, and I hired a woman. Her name is Jen. Many of you on the podcast have heard from her before, but she is about 1.8 times as organized as I am. And there are times she'll bring me reports, and I think this is overkill. We're double tracking this, but then I just get addicted to the report. It's so great to have.
Yeah. Well, and there's a balance, right? So there is a balance that you want to be efficient and not duplicating, but on the other hand, some things like that just really help me, and it's important to strike that balance.
Yeah, perfect. Well, there was one other thing I wanted to make sure to ask you about. So as a bookkeeper, what do you say business owners should be paying themselves? And talk about payroll versus profit distributions and what those are, but how do you advise your clients?
So when we talk about distributions versus payroll, remember to take a step back and think about how you're structured. So if you are in LLC, you are taking an owner's draw, and you should not actually be receiving a W-2. You should not be structured as an employee of your business, because you are only taking owner's draws. You are actually not a business expense of your business. Now, that is different as you grow and you're taking a regular owner's draw from your business. We recommend for our clients to change to an S Corp. Once you become an S Corp, you can pay yourself as an employee. You can put yourself on payroll.
Mm-hmm.
This decision is different for every client, but our signature framework that we provide our clients with is to look at your cash balance at the beginning of the month. So at the end of every month, we will send our clients a financial report that has their historical financials, so what they did last month, and then we'll tell them this is what your cash balance is today. Mm-hmm. Here is your average operating expenses, and we suggest clients have 2 to 3 months worth of operating expenses in their checking account to cover future expenses. So if something happened in their business, they can cover their expenses for 2 to 3 months, and then your ending balance. And so from there, you can take what you need as an owner from that ending balance, but that gives you the comfort and the confidence to know I can pay my contractors next month. I can pay to keep the operations of my business running. And so I can now confidently take that cash from my business.
Perfect. And then how to think about, or is there really a technical way to think about the proportion of payroll to profit distributions?
I would definitely talk to your CPA and look at your
taxes, right?
Yeah, your total personal story. So if I was to give you a calculation right now, that'd be wrong of me, because it really depends on your total situation and how much taxes you're going to pay.
Perfect. And that it really is, that's exactly my answer when people ask me questions like, how should someone be saving in their 30s? How should they be saving in their 40s? It's like, it's not based on age. It's based on your personal situation.
Yeah. What else do you have going on? Yeah. Do you have debt?
Yeah. Blanket recommendations don't make sense. So I completely align. I just wanted to see if there was anything, any gold nuggets you wanted to drop. Anything else I didn't ask about today, Danielle, before we sign off?
2 big things. If you are somebody who is struggling to understand your numbers, or you're saying to yourself, I'm not sure how to use these numbers to even make decisions in my business, make sure you're getting the help. Talk to your mentor, your coach, your bookkeeper. We would love to help you, but make sure that you are able to use the numbers in order to drive your business. They are telling you a story. We had a client recently who was growing her business, and she launched a new brand. And we were sending her financial reports month after month, and she realized that after 6 months, the brand was actually going to sink her business. And she was able to quickly make a decision that she needed to actually offload that brand. And it saved her, and it saved her family and her debt and her sanity.
Her marriage.
Yes. So the numbers are trying to tell you something. Don't run for them. Read them and understand them. And then the second piece would be, find a dashboard that works for you, whether it be the financial reports, or we give a framework in the profit planner for a weekly dashboard. But the point is, don't be afraid to really look at, what you have in your business, what's coming up, who owes you money, what contractor payments, what payments do you have coming, so that you can really be looking at your business, not just today from an emotional standpoint, but from a real business standpoint where you can make good decisions.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear so people understand how to get to this dashboard that you're recommending. There isn't a tool or an app that's going to be ideal for your business. It really does need to be created in a consultative relationship. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely. So there are several different dashboards out there. We offer a framework in our Profit Planner book series, and we talked about some of these key performance indicators in these categories. There's not going to be one size that fits all.
Yeah.
We talk about this all the time. Use a KPI, see if it works for you. If it doesn't, stop doing it and find a new one that does tell you the right story.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Okay, so Danielle has been generous and put together a complimentary giveaway for you today. It's linked to on her website, but just because I know you're driving or in the train or in the subway or washing the dishes right now, we're going to make it simple. I'm going to link to it from the show notes at hillaryhendershot.com/154. Danielle, would you talk about this giveaway and in context of the Profit Planner series, which you've mentioned several times?
Yeah, so the giveaway is the financial goal setting worksheet. This is our signature framework to help you walk through setting financial goals and starting to look at your numbers. This is the first step to take before this is a great time of year to do this. Really prep you in your business. From there, you can start to work on the Profit Planner series. We have 2 books currently launched, a third one coming that will set you up with the foundations and the financial metrics for success in your business. Okay.
And the worksheet is just a worksheet, but then the Profit Planner you can choose to purchase if you like that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks for being here, Danielle.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hi, I'm popping back in just so there's no confusion. You did just hear Danielle and me talk about her Profit Planner worksheets, which you can still get by going to the show notes for today's episode at hillaryhendershot.com/154. And then I had the idea to buy her books and give them to you. So that offer also stands until the books run out. You can get the link to request the book in the show notes, or just go straight to hillaryhendershot.com/Profit Planner book. Enjoy. Hey, Profit Boss. If after listening to today's episode, you think you might be ready to take meaningful actions with your wealth and perhaps consider working with me and my firm in some way, then I'd love to hear from you. Just go to hillaryhendershot.com/hello. That's Hillary with 1 L and Hendershot with 2 T's. .com/hello. When I'm not sitting behind the mic, I'm running Hendershot Wealth Management. We're a fee-only fiduciary financial advisory firm. We work with women and couples to take their finances to the next level. Everything I talk about here on the show gets personalized and put to work for my clients. So I ask you, why wait till tomorrow when you can start realizing your full wealth potential today? The life you want to live, it doesn't have to wait. Just imagine the freedom and joy you'll experience when you've secured your retirement and enjoyed the years leading up to it. That's what I want for you. That's what I do for my clients. And if that's what you want for yourself, just head on over to my website right now, hillaryhendershot.com/hello. All of our initial conversations are totally complimentary. So let's just see where a friendly conversation may lead. hillaryhendershot.com/hello. As we wrap things up here for today, I need to review with you the things I have to disclose as a fiduciary financial advisor offering wealth management services through my firm, Hendershot Wealth Management, LLC. You should know that the opinions I express on Profit Boss Radio are my own, and they can change. The content I provide in the show is for general education. It's not intended as specific investment advice, nor do I recommend any specific financial products. Unlike how I roll at home with my husband, I can't guarantee that my statements, opinions, or forecasts are always 100% right. Of course, I wish I could peek into that proverbial crystal ball, but so far, I haven't found it. Past performance is not indicative of future results. I talk a lot about indexes, and I want you to know you can't actually buy an index because, of course, when you take a list of companies and create a product that allows people to invest in those companies, there are fees and expenses involved that reduce returns. Remember, all investing involves risk, which, as you know, means you could lose your money. And I have to tell you that there is no guarantee that any investment plan or strategy will be successful. And that should keep my lawyers happy. Have a great day.